Until 6 at the latest. Well, the 4-game Eastern Conference road trip starts off with a big thud, 6-4. The Oilers fall to the Tampa Bay Lightning. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Oil Stream post-game show here on Edmonton Sports Talk. Tom Gazzola, Shawn Belle with you. YouTube, Trev, hyperventilating in the corner behind the control panel. Oh, he's going to be okay. The inbox is humming already, as it should be. The nasty chat, an interesting place to be right now. You were just, yeah, that was the reaction. 6-4, the Oilers fall to the Tampa Bay Lightning. Hit us up in the inbox, 780-218-9999 if you're listening on TuneIn or our audio stream. We appreciate it. Thank you so much. We're going to help break this one down. Joaquin Gage stuck around for the majority of that game as well, but he ducked out at the right time. Belsey tasked with filling in for Cass after that one tonight. Nasty chat, do your thing. We'll keep tabs on that as much as possible. And away we go as the Oilers lose 6-4. Let's start with the scoring summary. Things were looking so good this afternoon, you know. Derek Ryan got the party started. Short-handed goal, bit of a fluky one from Ryan Nugent-Hopkins and Cody Ceci, Ryan's first of the year. And you're like, all right, maybe this is going to be a good afternoon for the Edmonton Oilers, because about 5 minutes later, it was James Hamblin. Great moment where he scores his first National Hockey League goal. You saw him point to the sky. Absolutely tremendous shot by Hamblin, the kid from Edmonton, making it 2-zip at 8:31. But the Oilers got lucky with their first goal. The Lightning got lucky with a couple goals. Don't get me wrong. They scored a couple of beauties in this game, too. They took advantage of some lackadaisical defensive play, some bad pinches, ill-advised, ill-timed, whatever you want to call it. But on this one, Kucherov scores to make it 2-1, cuts the Oilers' lead in half. That one coming on the power play at 19:09. Stamkos and Point with the assists on that one. And then Kucherov would get another one, his 13th goal of the year, just doing Nikita Kucherov things from Sergachev and Radish on the wrister at 12:56 to make it 2-2. But then Derek Ryan, second of the night, second of the season from Foegele and Ekholm. A bit of a greasy one there. Actually, both of Ryan's goals today were pretty greasy, to be honest with you, to restore the Oilers' lead going into the third period. You would think, all right, things are looking all right. They'll hold the fort. You know what? Things were going all right for the Oilers defensively. Not perfect by any means. But you think maybe they sharpen things up in that third period and hold it down. But that's not the case, because Tanner Jeannot on a 2-on-1 from Mikey Isamont, or Michael, as he likes to go by now, Isamont. Sergachev, the second assist there to tie it up at 3:54. Evan Bouchard did not have the best afternoon in Tampa, but he totally redeemed himself for a brief moment in the third period where he snapped one home on a feed from Ryan Nugent-Hopkins to make it 4-3 for Edmonton. Restores the lead with less than 12 minutes left to play. You go, okay, they learned their lesson. Couldn't hold the lead going into the third. Maybe now they're going to hold the lead, but not the case, because a minute 14 later, or a minute 24 later, I should say, Steven Stamkos, wonderful passing on this goal on the power play. Kucherov with Point picking up the secondary assist. It was like bam, 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 in. 4-4 at that point. And then, 39 seconds later, Luke Glendening makes it 5-4 for Tampa. Totally swings things in the favor of the Tampa Bay Lightning. And then with 55 seconds left to play, Mikhail Sergachev from 197 feet from the opposition net buries the empty netter to make it 6-4 Tampa. We're going to go into some of these goals. Don't get me Don't get me wrong, because Belsey, I've been winding you up, letting you kind of just giggle away. Shots on goal, 43-24 in favor of the Oilers. Faceoffs, 57.6% to 42.4 in favor of the Lightning. The Lightning power play strikes twice on 4 opportunities, so Edmonton's PK, 50%. That one goal, the Stamkos one, was absolutely brilliant. Edmonton's power play on the other side of things, 0 for 5. Not good enough. Not good enough at all. Hits 21-14 in favor of the Lightning. Block shots 16 for Tampa to 12 for Edmonton. Do you want to deep dive into it, or do you want to dust this? Start with a sprinkle of your feelings. Where do you want to go?
These are my feelings right now.
You're laughing because it's so ridiculous.
I'm laughing because it's like the definition of insanity is repeating the same thing over and over again.
And we keep seeing.
Here we are in every single game.
Yeah,
it's the same thing. The team is fully capable of playing hard. They're fully capable of playing in the defensive end. They're fully capable of not cheating for offense, and yet every single game, here we are again, losing it on the chat, losing it, laughing in here, because it's
incredible.
Absolutely crazy.
Yes.
And so you got this team that wants the cup or bust. They have the cup or bust mentality.
Right.
And there is remotely no championship habits. Not one.
No, there have been no redeeming qualities for the most part this season. I liked the 3-game winning streak. I appreciated the fact that they won a game the other night that they didn't deserve to win. I value the 60 minutes they put in Seattle. I acknowledge the patience that they showed on Monday night against the New York Islanders in what was a very slow-moving game.
It was a mistake-free game. You limit the turnovers, and then you go to work in the third period. That's what you need sometimes. It doesn't need to be just full throttle cheat offense. Like the one goal that was scored, which was a 2-on-1. Both McLeod.
This is the Tanner Jeannot goal.
It might be, yeah.
Yeah.
Both McLeod and Ryan are looping all around the neutral zone. Ryan actually goes to change, and then you've got McLeod, who's late to the party because he's looping away from the play, and it's an instant 2-on-1.
Or is this the Glendening goal?
It doesn't even matter. They're all the same. It's craziness, man.
Okay, here's one. Bison Mask guy who's been humming today. It goes, what is Edmonton's neutral zone defense? Red Rover with 2 men at the blue line, 2 men wandering the red line aimlessly. How would you... Well, they've been terrible off the transition all year.
Well, in their 3-game winning streak, there was basically a 1-2-2 where they're super patient and they're limiting turnovers and keeping people to the outside, which is evidence as to why they were at 1.66 goals against average over over the course of 3 games. But then all of a sudden, here we go again. You're not structured. You're looping all over the place, and you just leave each other out to dry. There's like being connected.
Yes.
I've heard Jay Woodcroft talk about it. I've heard Knoblauch talk about it. Being connected. Where is the connection? There is none. It's almost like it's every man for himself because they just want to get theirs.
Oh, they did get theirs.
Yeah, how's that
in the form of a big L.
Yeah, how's that working out, boys?
That's how it went today. I guess good on the Tampa Bay Lightning for exposing us. Was it because they're too respectful towards Tampa's offense? I don't think so. I think they just had brain farts.
I just think it's like Evan Bouchard. 2 goals. One, you pinch when you shouldn't have pinched.
Yeah.
The other one, you're not even watching what's going on behind you. You take one glance, but then you don't move to try to get above your coverage or your man, and then all of a sudden it goes in for a 2-on-1, and that was the Jeannot goal where they zip it far side, and it's just a quick one-timer. But like if he just plays on the defensive end of this, it's a 2-on-2, and they probably don't score. You live to fight another day.
780-218-9999 if you want to text us. Nasty chat, it's flying, so we'll try to dip into it as much as we can. Let's start with the inbox. Oh, boy. There are so many texts coming. The Latino Heat just texted me directly and said, they're just plain stupid, buddy. Gotcha. That's frustrating. That's
frustrating.
Yeah.
I get it. It's frustrating.
Okay, here we go. Let's go into some text here. Dirty Curdy gets the first word. He texts us and says, against what was a mediocre Bolts team today, a massive choke job from the Stars, cute power play, and goaltending. A shame when the depth shows up. Connor and Leon don't piss a drop, says Dirty Curdy. With no room for error, another helping of disappointment for Oil Country and ruining the Hamblin story. Picks is up. Nobby has his work cut out from him. That text from Dirty Curdy. This text says, blacked out. Ha. Too many Bouchard issues. That's from Norman at Combine. Mark says, hey, boys, yet again, defensive errors, in quotes or parentheses, Bouchard, and lack of goaltending cost them the game. Tampa had no business winning. I'm pissed, says Mark. There's been some chatter I've seen between, is this on Stuart Skinner or is this on the defense in front of him? Gager was saying he liked some of the saves that Skinner was making. The first Kucherov goal was a redirection off of Ekholm's skate.
Okay, so that one's not his fault.
Okay.
The second one is Bouchard's pinch.
Right.
And then instead of chasing him down, actually 3 guys stopped skating probably from the top of the circles down.
Controller disconnected.
Yep, there you go.
Yep.
And Kucherov bangs it in. Okay, so do you really call that his fault? I don't think so. The third goal, we have another 2-on-1, crosses Royal Road, instantly into the net, so on a one-timer. Mm-hmm. So that's not his fault. Stamkos' goal.
That was ridiculous.
That was an unbelievable passing play, not his fault. Glendening, 2-on-1, with basically a shot pass tipped, right? High
I'm
blocker.
watching it right now.
So what do you want him to do there?
Well, that's the 2 guys looping with 1 guy going off. That is so bad. And McLeod just kind of...
That's 5 goals right there that we just talked about. Where do you want him to have one of these?
I would like him to have the Glendening one.
That's a tough play,
I know it's a tough play.
Okay,
but
I'll give you that.
Yeah, okay.
So that's one of 6.
Okay. And the empty netter that's not on. It's just... Pointing from... I'm watching this Glendening goal again. Even Glendening couldn't believe he scored. With the look on his face.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
If there was just defensive responsibility, you're probably walking away with a win. With just defensive responsibility. And actually, let me break that down even more. If you just decided to live to fight another day and you had minimal amount of structure, even like this much, you win the game.
There was no structure.
Stop blaming the goaltender.
There was no structure tonight. Andy Pandy Texan says, another horrendous performance defensively. 29 was simply the worst player on the ice tonight, and this team is going nowhere. Embarrassing third period. Yeah, that third period was an absolute mess. 3 unanswered by the Lightning, 4 in total for Tampa in that third period where they went into it down 3-2. They end up winning 6-4. Oh, boy. Yeah. Let's go into a few more of these. Ho Daddy says, the Stars absolutely blew it for the team today. Power play 1 was terrible. Dry had a horrific game, making blind backhand hope plays left and right, one of which led directly to their third goal. Bottom 6 was great. Deserved the W from Ho Daddy. Ho Daddy, I appreciate that sentiment. I think that summed it up.
Yep.
IMAX says, your boss said it best the other day. They squeaked past bad teams. Was that Dusty? Dusty said that. Taco says, hey, boys, nice to see Ryan and Hamblin score. Solid start, but 5 goals on 23 shots will not win you many games. The big difference in my eyes is that Tampa Stars came out to play and the Oilers didn't. They should have won this game. It was winnable. Yeah, we went to Bison Mask Guy already on the neutral zone defense where you said it was 1-2-2 to start, and then just it became a scramble, essentially. Yep. I think I'm summing it up properly there by saying 100%. That.
Yeah.
Yep. Calgary Glenn says, going into the third with the lead, I said to my son, don't give up any odd man rushes. Then what happens? Power play 1 is not clicking. Time to change things up. Calgary Glenn. Let's talk about power play 1. Power play 1 and 2. You got to get power play 2 and its minimal time out there today in Tampa. Goes 0 for 5. And you and I were watching them in the third period. They had an opportunity to tie the game. Really didn't generate a ton. A lot of scrambly, kind of disjointed series of events on power play 1 especially. What are they missing, lacking? Why isn't it connecting?
Well, it just almost seems like teams have figured out, obviously, that they're going to go through the seam at some point, and they're trying to hit Draisaitl. So that seems
who's got no confidence.
Who's got no confidence. And so now you take that away a little bit, and now it's like, okay, well, what do the others do? Like, you looked at some of the plays. Like, there was actually a really nice play where McDavid has it on the half wall. He goes down to Hyman. Hyman shoots it across the crease. Draisaitl probably should have had the goal. Mm-hmm. Doesn't go in. And that was the last you saw of any kind of attempt to do something like that. You know, we talked about it in the pregame, and it was like they've got to just change it up just slightly to keep opponents guessing. They tried, but then all of a sudden, when it didn't work, they went back to the well again. And it's like, Kate will just keep trying to force feed Draisaitl on the far side. Right. And they just kept throwing it. And guys are just sitting there, you know, sticks in the lanes. Right. Well, what do you want them to do? So just because it doesn't work once doesn't mean you need to stop trying. Like, let's go continue. Clearly, if a team's overplaying you on one side of the ice and you're going to leave Hyman wide open, just keep giving it to him. Let him try to do something until they decide to adjust.
Yeah. Hyman's one of the guys who's actually put together a fairly consistent season.
Yep.
To his credit. I said to you, watching this team through training camp in the preseason, them working on the power play, that top unit that was historically good last year, you could tell that they were working on new wrinkles for that power play unit. And they wanted to keep opposition PKs guessing. Because we know it's a cat and mouse game. Teams watch tape. They try to pick up tendencies. They saw how the Oilers were successful last year. And it almost feels like all these new plays that they've tried to implement on the power play aren't working. And then because they're not working, they try to revert back to the plays that got them to where they were last season with all the success that the power play did have. Mm-hmm. But even that seems slightly off, and teams are prepared for it.
Teams are prepared for it, and it's almost like, okay, they haven't bought into trying something different. They're stuck on it to the point where it's like, well, no, we got to do this because this is what worked. Well, you're right. It did work last year. Mm-hmm. But now teams are smart. They're in the NHL for a reason. They're the best coaches in the world. Do you think they're just going to allow you to continue to throw this thing backdoor through a seam?
No.
And
if you were coaching against the Oilers power play, what would you be telling your defensive units?
It's almost the same as like with Ovechkin. Remember how teams started to just move players over there?
Yep.
And so then they limited the opportunities, and then all of a sudden Washington had to change it up slightly to figure out how to get him open again. So they started hitting Oshie as the bumper.
Right.
And then Oshie started scoring, and then teams were like, oh, okay, well, maybe we shouldn't do that, and we'll have to live to fight another day, and now Ovechkin starts scoring again.
Right.
But they changed it up, and they stuck with it. They bought in because they had to find a way to create different offense, not just from the same well. You've got a bunch of guys. You had 3 guys that were 100-point scorers, and you had
the Oilers.
From the Oilers. Yep. And then you have Hyman, who had career year.
Yep.
And you got Bouchard, who is a very good offensive hockey player.
Correct.
There's lots of ways to score. There shouldn't just be one. And so changed up, buy in, figure it out, and then once things open up, go back to what you know. But then at least you're giving yourself an opportunity.
Right.
But right now, it just seems to me like they're not even giving themselves an opportunity at all.
It seems really sloppy. That's how I would describe it, especially today on the power play. 0 for 5 with the man advantage, not particularly great. Yes, there were some weird goals in that game, both sides of the ice for sure. But that power play, you need to get at least 1 or 2 on the power play, especially when you get 5 opportunities like the Oilers had tonight. Coach Mike texts us and says, after the Oilers made it 4-3, Tampa said, F it, let's get to work. Oil lost almost every puck battle after that.
Don't disagree.
When you have the puck, the other team might try to get it back. No awareness whatsoever in the D zone. Power play could have extended the lead in the first and tied it in the third. Brutal game. That text from Coach Mike. And to Coach Mike's point, when they got that 4-3 goal, the Oilers did, what did I say to you? They need to find a way to get the insurance marker.
Yeah. They need to find a way to get 2.
And then almost on cue, they have a turnover in the offensive zone. It goes back the other way, and I look at you, and then it's 4-4.
Yep.
I'm like, this is ridiculous. And you know what you did? You just laughed because it was absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, you could just see it
and
coming.
You're like, did you see that back check? Did you see that terrible TV turn? I'm just thinking to myself, this is a summation of the way the Oilers season has gone.
You got a few texts basically saying, here's one. Skinner's lateral movement is not good. Well, okay, sure. But if the defenseman played defense, you wouldn't be giving up 2-on-1s, and therefore you probably wouldn't have those goals. And I guess that's the point, is like we sit here and Jay Woodcroft got fired because that was the easy way out.
Right.
We're looking at Skinner and saying, well, we need a goaltender, his movement's bad or whatever. Well, that's the easy way out. Because at the end of the day, I'm not denying that either.
I'm not disagreeing with it.
I'm not going to disagree with it. Yeah. But at the end of the day, the whole thing, the whole issue isn't with the goaltender. It's the fact that these guys consistently cheat on the offensive side, which then leads to high-quality chances, and sometimes they backcheck and sometimes they don't, and they leave guys wide open in the slot. And right now, if you go online, you can see where most of these goals are scored. And they're all right in the house. And you can't give up opportunities right inside the house every single time, because they usually end up in the back of your net with any NHLer.
You and Joaquin were kind of having a conversation as we were watching at our EST studios, and I think YouTube Trev got in on that conversation too. And I think it might have been Joaquin who just said, they're too easy to play against.
Yeah, way too easy to play against.
Too easy to play against.
The house battle is the battle that every single coach at almost every single level illustrates a lot. Win the house battle. Don't let people into the middle of the ice. Limit the turnovers. At their blues, our blue, these are things that are consistently said across hockey.
Those three things on the checklist you brought up, the Oilers get an X beside each one.
Yeah.
Not a check mark, an X.
Yeah.
Didn't do it, red pen. Didn't do it, red pen. Didn't do it, red pen. Result, 6-4.
To me,
loss.
I just don't want to sit here and consistently go back to the well and say, well, it's the goaltender's fault. Sure, he might be slow.
I would have liked the Goaltending one. I want to save on that one.
Sure, I want to save too, but there's still 6 other goals. There was 5 other goals that got scored.
Yeah.
And 4 of them, Who's going to talk about the fact that why is Bouchard consistently pinching on the strong side when they have full possession of the puck? Are we talking about that?
Well, we should.
We should, and that's kind of the point of it. It's that if you don't do that stuff and you don't have those brain farts, then those goals aren't happening on the other side. And then we're all probably sitting here having a giggle and cracking a beer, and we're having a smile, and we're saying, oh, this was awesome. But defensive breakdowns lead to chances.
Right.
Chances lead to goals. The minute you cross a railroad, like we've talked about 3 million times, it increases the opportunity to score by 30%. So if you have a goaltender that has slow lateral movement,
and you're giving up the middle of the ice on cross ice passes,
what do you want?
That math is stacked favorably for the opposition.
Yeah.
If you're an Oilers fan. Fat Dan Texan says, is Bouchard defensively the worst defenseman in the league? Not that it matters terribly with another sub-800 goalie performance. Geez, I can't believe firing Woody didn't fix anything. Fat Dan ends it with, losers. Howdy, boys. I tried to watch and enjoy the game, but Bouchard's defensive errors and casual play just drives me over the edge. That's from Shovelhead. Great alias, Shovelhead. I will save that to our database. This text says, sad Tommy is back. Pretty sad overall with how the Oilers performed. I had a great afternoon with the boys.
Yeah, it was a fun afternoon.
Yep, with pizza. It was nice. But it was a sad performance on the ice. So, yeah, I understand that one. That one's from the General. This text says, I don't even want to talk about Skinner. Oilers power play had 2 chances to put the game to bed in the first period, up 2-0, and failed miserably. Our best players need to wake the heck up. Not commenting on the goaltending. That one, no name on it, but thank you for the text. This one says, Tom, how much longer is this charade of Ryan McLeod going to continue? Third-line center who has not scored in 32 games. This is turning into a joke. That's from Sean. We pinpointed McLeod on a few occasions tonight.
Yeah. We talked about him in the pregame as well.
On the pregame, the back check wasn't good. On one of the goals, the Goaltending one. Who went off on the change on that goal?
Ryan.
That was just...
Yeah, you can't change there, but at the same time, it's like McLeod, you're still there too.
And he's fast.
And he's
skate.
fast.
That's one of the things he does well. He recognized the guy who was streaking to the net in Goaltending.
Yep.
And didn't burst to take away his stick.
But it's like, just stay above the guy.
Right.
Create a 2-on-2.
That didn't
If they score on a 2-on-2, okay, well, then we should probably talk about what the situation was. But just cheat. We cheat. And then we get upset because the pucks go in the net. Well, yeah, they do.
That's the goal I would have liked the save on.
Yeah.
But still. West End Rob also chiming in about McLeod. Says, what good is McLeod? Skates fast, does nothing. Need to package him and Bouchard for something good defensively. Hurt the team more than helped, which is shocking given Bouchard's points. West End Rob with that one. This one says, Oilers need a goalie. Leon looks terrible, like he didn't even train in offseason. The team looked good tonight. That one, no name. Oh, is that Ner? No, that's not the name of it. Roland says, who does Holland, in parentheses, wink, wink, have to fire to get McDavid and Draisaitl scoring again? Well played with the wink, wink, Roland. Yep. I appreciate that. One more here says, I am blaming the goaltending. Skinner needs to make a timely save. His reaction time to cross-ice passes is at an ECHL level. Sorry, this team needs a goalie they can trust. We talked about it a little bit on the goaltending situation, saying, yes, Joaquin, I think, talked about it, too, when he hopped in for pregame.
Yeah.
Do they need goalie help? Yeah.
Yeah, they do.
Skinner getting it done? No. Is he getting help in front of him? No. Have any one of the goalies that started for the Oilers this year gotten help in front of them? Not really.
No. Like that Kucherov pass to Stamkos, backdoor.
Yeah.
That was an absolute missile.
There was 6 passes there.
Who's stopping that?
Cujo. I'm kidding.
Dominic Hasek is going to stop
sarcastic.
that because he's going to fly over with a 2-pad stack and catch it with the toe of his blade.
Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe. Dominic Hasek could get that.
Sure.
You're right.
Sure. Oh, boy. Here we are again. This text says, this team won't make any playoff push if they continue to play poor defense, just keep giving up odd man rushes. I'm done with trash. That's from Naughty Possum. Another one on Skinner's lateral movement says, Skinner's lateral movement in net is not good. Yes, 2-on-1s can't always be blamed on goalies, but he is slow. They always seem to go in on him. Yeah, a lot of them have. I'm not going to deny that at all. There's no way I'm denying that. I know what people are saying when the lateral movement isn't there, or you go, boy, he should have had that one. I recognize those. And again,
and that's, I think, why people are, they're frustrated because they see those things go in.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, we shouldn't be giving up 2-on-1s or odd man rushes to the rate that the Oilers do.
There are mediocre goaltenders in this league who have sparkling records because the 5-man units in front of them play responsible hockey.
Actually, on our show, Hello Hockey, Dave Pagnotta actually talked about that.
Yes. If you didn't catch it, what did he say?
He basically said that there's goaltenders in the league, Aiden Hill being one of them,
right,
that play behind defenses that, well, he called them oak trees.
Or sequoia trees.
The sequoia trees, you're right.
Yeah.
But they play such good team defense that you can be a marginal goaltender and look like you are the best goaltender in the league. Because if you don't leak chances, the opportunity for teams to score on you goes down significantly.
Right.
Does he need to mix and save? Sure.
Absolutely.
I'll give you that. Sure.
Absolutely.
But the defense will not be a Stanley Cup caliber defense. You're not going to go to the playoffs. You're not going to do any damage in the playoffs if you keep giving up chances like this.
The Liquor Beaver says, I have seen enough of Evan Bouchard. I don't care what he creates offensively. It doesn't come close for the constant gaffes he makes. Signed, the Liquor Beaver. 780-218-9999. It is the Oil Stream postgame show. The Oilers fall 6-4 in Tampa to kick off a 4-game Eastern Conference road trip. They are in Florida Monday night to take on the Panthers. Keep those texts coming in, 780-218-9999. Nasty chat we're going to take a look at. And YouTube Trev, you said, wait 5 minutes. I've waited like 15 minutes. Lay it on me, brother. How you doing over there with that greasy mustache?
Yeah, the greasy mustache is okay, but what was not okay was that game. That was just so bad, Tony. You guys have pretty well covered everything. It just from the back checking, just like that's initiation. I don't get it. I don't know why. Like cover a man if you're back checking. Like get in front of him, lift a stick, do something, and just being an idle. Like that's all we were seeing from Bouchard. Like he recognizes the play. And then it takes him a second or two to be like, oh, that I should probably cover that guy. And it happened like several times tonight. It looked brutal. It was so bad. And then from McLeod as well, like, yeah, he's got a lot of hop. He's a great skater, but that skating isn't transitioning to nothing. So it's pretty rough right now. And I'm not gonna lie, like that sucked. They had that game. Exactly when you cheat offense, which they were doing, Bouchard in particular. That leads to odd man rushes, and that was happening all night. Like Tampa would come 3-on-2, 2-on-1, and we've been seeing it all season. You can't cheat offense, so it was tough. That was the Oilers' game to win, and they lost it. They shot themselves in the foot. Stewart was okay. Like yeah, he should have had a save for sure. But I don't blame it completely on Stu tonight. The defense was just atrocious. As far as the Stars, that was another disappointing thing. I thought Connor and Leon were going to pop off this game. I really did. I had a good feeling. Like I was really feeling it. As far as, and then we haven't even mentioned him really, Connor Brown, the first game back, and the play really just, it stopped when it was on his stick. He tried getting it over to McDavid quite a few times, several times. And he couldn't get that last, like the last pass over to Connor. And the one time it was like, I think it was in the third period, Connor kind of shrugged it. Like he kind of like, like, are you kidding me? Like it's tough. It's simple passes like that you got to make. And so Connor Brown's first game back, I didn't think he looked too good at all, if I'm being honest. We're back to square one. I don't know where they go from here. Obviously they gotta get their head in the game. You can't dwell on these kind of things, I'd imagine. And so they play Florida pretty soon, and here's hoping. And like that's the thing, like just a great effort in the first 20. Like they look good. That was theirs to win, and just it's tough to see. So I'm pretty distraught after this one.
An exasperated YouTube Trev.
Yeah, I'm heated. Yeah, that
you need
sucks.
to crack a beer, man.
I'm going to crack a few tonight as soon as I get home.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm going to play some Chell, and I'm going to back check. That's what I do.
Are you going to put it on easy mode and then just run up the score?
No, I don't need to put it on easy mode.
You're just going to run up the score?
Yeah, exactly.
Recreate this game.
I'm going to be like, this is what should have happened tonight.
If you can see the disdain in YouTube Trev's eyes right now.
Gotta get this
There's vengeance in his eyes right now.
Yeah, I'm heated.
You're a hot little tamale, YouTube Trev.
This one was tough for sure. But
I think a lot of people feel the same way you do after watching what they did, especially in that third period where the Oilers coughed up 4 goals. Sergachev into the empty net, whatever. But
Tommy, a coach told me if you cheat the game will bite back.
Oh, it bit back?
And it bit back.
And
this is what happens all the time. You can't cheat the game. Championship teams do not cheat the game. It is what it is.
Elliot, via the nasty chat, Elliot Lewis says, the defense that the Oilers played tonight made no sense at all. Atrocious D-zone and especially neutral zone coverage from both the defense and the forwards tonight. Elliot, well said. No arguments from me on that one. And also, Elliot adds, Hernan 2.0. Just doesn't have the Latino spice to it, but the sentiment and the pride and passion from YouTube Trev is also there. I think Hernan would approve of your message. Although Hernan did text in, for those wondering what the Latinos Heat had to say, all he texted me was, they're just plain stupid, buddy. Yeah. You just said yep after I read your next text.
Yeah, I said stupid is right. So he's right. He's absolutely correct.
Yeah. All right, let's go to the inbox. Are you responding to people on the nasty chat?
I'm responding to one guy because he's actually being nice.
He's being nice.
He just said, if the road trip goes sideways, what splash does Jackson make next?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, you shake it up. Also on Hello Hockey earlier today, when we were discussing the fallout, we were talking about the Flames and the Oilers, throwing it at Dave Pagnotta, who you can catch on the fourth period, NHL Network Insider as well. He pointed out how many no movement clauses exist.
Yeah, and it's a lot.
With the Oilers, yeah.
So that's part of the biggest issue is that, you can want to do a move, but you're going to have to go up to all these different guys and say, do you want to be traded? Do you want to be traded?
Want to go?
Where would you like to go? And more often than not, guys like their security, so they don't want to move.
Mm-hmm. This text says, this Bouchard is going to tank the Oilers' season, convert him to right wing while there's still time. I read this because I don't disagree with the season going sideways. It already clearly has. The Oilers with their 10th loss of the season. But the Bouchard to forward thing has popped up again. Shawn, your take on that?
Can that be my take?
Just an exasperated sigh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Trev's laughing because he agrees.
I mean, honestly, I think what works for Evan Bouchard for an offense is that he's able to see a lot of the ice. Evan Bouchard is not the greatest skater in the world. He's adequate. He gets by. And I think if you're playing forward, you got to be able to skate. The Oilers forwards can skate. That's one thing they can do well is they can skate. So, for a guy like that, is he going to be able to keep up? And I think that would present some challenges and some problems. It works right now because he's able to read the play. He cheats on the offensive side, so he finds himself in a better spot offensively, and that's why you see him capitalize on some of these goals, because a lot of times he's either that second wave at the perfect time, or he's jumped up in the play where he's now the lead guy on the rush. His offensive instincts from the back end, they really lend themselves to him becoming a really good offensive defenseman. I just don't know if you'd be able to do the same thing as a forward, because it is different. Mm-hmm. As much as it sounds like it's not different, it is different.
Right.
It's different timing.
I know what you mean.
Right? It's a different timing. It's a different read. It's a different sense. You don't have as much room to potentially make that jump or to skate. It's different.
Let's play this game.
Sure. Are we in the hypothetical game again?
We're in the hypothetical game.
Sweet.
All right. Some people, like that last text pointed out, why not move Bouchard up to wing, get him at forward, use his offensive instincts that way? You just described it as it's a different.
Yeah, it's different feel. It's a different feel.
Different ball game. You move him up to wing. Hypothetical. I wanna highlight the fact that this is super hypothetical. You go, all right, let's try Evan Bouchard right wing, third line. I don't know.
Well, you can't play him with Connor.
No, I know. I'm just saying. Let's try him at right wing. Let's start him out on the third line. Let's see how he does and how he handles things. Evan Bouchard, from what we glean and what we've seen in his NHL career, how would he, Bellsy, I'll start with this, how would he handle playing on the wall in his own zone when he's getting outlet passes?
I don't think it would be very good.
How would he handle covering D-men?
Yeah, I don't know if it'd be great. I honestly don't.
How would Evan Bouchard be streaking up the wall through the neutral zone with the puck on his stick?
I think from that side, he'd be okay. Anytime the puck's on his stick, I think he'd be fine.
Okay, so 1 out of 2.
I think the coverage aspect of it would be tough.
Yeah.
Being the forward that's got to cover the defenseman, you'd probably be fine with it because you don't necessarily need to be right tight covering that guy. Mm-hmm. You just got to be in the shooting lane. So I think from that side of things, he'd be fine. But it's the wall play that worries me.
Okay.
Because his greatest strength is one of his biggest weaknesses is the fact that he's very casual and he's very nonchalant. He doesn't rev at 5, he revs at a 0.5 or a 1.
Right.
And
the
so
urgency.
the urgency aspect is fantastic. Like you don't need it because you have that ability to make a guy miss or to move away because you're so patient. But at the same time, it actually hurts him as well, right? So on the wall, when you're in those battles, like you have to have a little bit of urgency. There's got to be, an ability to be physical and get pucks out. That part worries me.
Right.
So in this hypothetical game,
which
I'm not sure that he would be the greatest spot, because if you put him in a third line role, well, now he has to be super defensively responsible.
Right.
If you put him in a first line role, okay, well, you got to play with Connor or Leon.
Which to me would be insane if that were to ever occur.
And guys that work with Connor or Leon are guys that can go get the puck first, like a Hyman. This is why Hyman's had so much success. So what are you doing after that? What they need to do, if we really want to play the hypothetical game, is they need to create a new position.
Rover?
Oh,
boy.
They need to have 2 forwards with 2 defensemen, and then you let Bush rove. You do whatever you need to do, my friend. Now we're on to something.
That scares the living crap out of me.
Just create the rover position like you're back in soccer, the midfielder, and let's roll. Bush would be unbelievable at that.
I feel like that would be exposed so quickly by other teams.
Facts.
Okay, last point of the hypothetical Bouchard to forward thing, because it's not something that just popped up. This is something that people have floated and discussed and texted into us on the post-game show a few times already this season. He gets into the offensive zone. How many puck battles is he winning? How many times are you seeing him in front of the net?
This is why he's got to be a rover, dude. Because then he doesn't have to go into those puck battles. He just gets to rove somewhere in the middle of the ice where he's ultra effective.
And nobody hurts him.
Nobody hurts him. Nobody hits him. He doesn't have to do anything other than unleash the Bush bomb. Let McDavid go get the pucks or Hyman, and you just filter these pucks to the middle of the ice where this guy's got unbelievable timing, and just let him step into passes like he's in a T-ball. He's a T-ball player.
I think it's fair to wrap up this hypothetical scenario. Thank you for the text in regard to Bouchard and moving him up to forward. That's how we predict it would go if they were to ever do something like that. This text says, it's from Jerry Mancini. Jerry texts in, says, Molasses moves faster than Desharnais. Bouchard was very poor. Needs to be stronger. Too soft. But, oh my, Desharnais is mediocre. Too slow moving the puck and reacting. In a perfect world, he is your 7th defenseman, Shawn Belle, correct?
Yeah, in a perfect world.
In a perfect world. He's been thrust into the 6th role because Philip Broberg has not been able to take that 6th D-man spot. Donnie the Sparky says, sure, you need a save there, but it's far from the only problem. Holloway, Brown, and McLeod have combined for what? 3 points all year, and Leon hasn't looked great, but he's still on pace for almost 110 points. Do you have anything you want to add?
Yeah, I mean, like Holloway's been... He's been okay.
He was playing his best hockey before he got hurt.
He was playing okay. He was playing good hockey. Like, he hits guys. He can wheel. He's hard on the forecheck. Like, I don't mind his game. This is only, year 2?
Yes.
I don't mind him. I think he's going to be fine.
He was great in Seattle before he got hurt against the Islanders on Monday.
And I just think that McLeod's got so much more to offer. I agree with this point. But McLeod, I don't know what it is, but he's got so much to offer because he could be such an elite player. He's an elite skater, and you don't find that very often. So, I don't know. You got to get to the middle of the ice there, big man.
Joel from Bonnie says, hey, guys, when do you think you call this season lost? Like, what do they do? It just doesn't look good, but hopefully they can string a 6-game heater together. This was game 16 of the season. I don't think you call it a loss just yet. I mean, sadly, it's getting closer and closer to it, but I don't think it's there just yet. as a lost season.
Yeah, it's not a lost season yet. I still think you have the horses to be able to do it. There just needs to be, some kind of moment in that dressing room or on the ice that just brings these guys together and they all get on the same page and they move from there. And there's been opportunities, and I think we've talked about this before. It's like, well, how do teams come together? What are rallying moments in seasons?
Big fights.
Big fights. Go gong it up.
That's what St. Louis did.
That's what St. Louis did. Jay Bomeister was talking about that.
We had him on Hello Hockey.
And once again, he's like, we just found a way to become a team. We were galvanized. And everybody just went in the same direction. So let's go gong it up, boys. Next game, auto shed to the point where in the third period, there's 2 guys left on the bench. And everybody's just high-fiving each other as they go walk down the hallway into the dressing room. An electric game. You just went to war with each other. Maybe that does it. Because then at least you know that the next guy's got your back.
Right. D. White via the Nasty Chat says, can you honestly say Broberg has been given a chance to take the third defensive spot on the... Well, D. White has left D, but it's supposed to be right D. I don't remember him getting a couple games in a row playing 12 to 15 minutes with the same person. Well, they were mixing it up. Broberg's preseason wasn't particularly great. It was bland.
Yeah.
Is a term I would use for it. The games he did play this year with the Oilers were generally bland. And he didn't wrestle the job away from Vinny Desharnais.
And if one thing you got to do at the NHL level is you've got to win the spot. You can't hope for it and take it from a guy that got cut because he thought he was going to make it.
Have it gifted to
you
him.
have to take it. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You have to take it.
I'm sure he'll get a chance at some point being recalled from Bakersfield.
Yeah.
Will he take it now? Will he be awoken, if you will? Will he seize the opportunity? That's up for him to decide. We'll see. All right, keep those texts coming in, 780-218-9999. If you have any questions in regard to this team, what we think, what Belsey thinks, what Belsey's seeing, let us know, 780-218-9999. We do have post-game audio and video to get to. Who are we going to see and hear from first? YouTube, Trev, I'm leaving this up to you tonight.
Yeah, we've got James Hamlin ready when you are.
Let's do it.
This is James Hamlin after his first goal in his NHL career.
What you did after you scored, and how long have you been thinking about that?
Yeah, I mean, it was obviously a very exciting moment. I just pointed to the sky. I think my initial thoughts are straight to my mom. I think I've had that celebration in the bank for a few years now, and so I think it was a weight off my shoulders to finally score the first one, and like I said, the first thoughts were just straight to her.
How special was it to be able to share that moment with her?
Yeah, it's super special. I know she's in my heart. She's on my back, and it's just it's hard to not get emotional about it. But just really fortunate that went in.
James, not to take away from the moment at all, but unfortunately it does come in a loss. What do you think was the difference for you for the result tonight?
Yeah, I mean, it felt like we played a pretty solid game for most of it. We just we let them have a few in the end. I wish we could have done a little bit better job of shutting it down in the third period, but we have to have a short memory. We got to move on to Florida.
He summed it up in a 15-second clip there. Played well for the most part, gave them some opportunities, weren't able to shut it down. He's not going to go in there and rip his teammates as a guy who's a call-up. The more important thing, the touching thing from his story tonight is getting that first NHL goal. You are familiar with James Hamlin. You have a bit of a rapport with him. What can you say about today?
Super special for him.
Yeah.
His mother passed away
a few years ago.
Yeah. It obviously very tough on him, on his family. So for him to get that goal, point to his mom, like you knew that was definitely on his heart, and very, very proud of that young man. He's grinded, from Medicine Hat through the minors, and now playing obviously in the NHL, and he's a unbelievable human being.
A great story. Battler, kid from Edmonton. Not the biggest guy. Gets his first goal. I think that's one where you'd like to see the team kind of build on that or take that inspiration and use it and be like, all right, we're getting a goal. This is huge for him. Let's go. Let's add more. Give the vibes, enhance, boost it.
It would have been so special, like on every single TV platform, media platform, if the Oilers win, we're talking about Hamlin and that special moment that he had. Unfortunately, we're talking about, things that have happened repeatedly over the course of the season, which is a little bit disappointing because it was such a honest, genuine, feel-good moment.
Maple Jed Texan says, I'm late to the chat, but have you discussed Draisaitl's blind backhand pass that led to yet another late goal against Maple Jed? We haven't specifically isolated the backhand pass, but we have recognized Draisaitl did not have a great afternoon in Tampa. It feels like his confidence is gone.
Yeah.
Even though he's leading this team in scoring and points.
I don't understand it. I mean, if you feel like he can't score, where do you think he can score from?
Right in the middle of the
Go
slot.
right to the net.
Yeah.
Take one off your lips. You scored. They don't ask how. They ask how many.
Correct.
Right?
Yes.
And then, all of a sudden you got confidence because he seems like a guy that when he's going and he's scoring and he's doing those things, that's when his game really comes. So if you're not scoring, well, don't stand on the outside. Get to the net. Find a greasy one.
Yep.
Go hard to the net. And then get your confidence back and, let's get this team rolling.
He's a very good player, and the recipe's there. But, yes, tough game for Leon Draisaitl. All right, let's go back down to Tampa. YouTube, Trev, I'm leaving it up to you. Who are we going to hear and see from next?
Okay, let's hear from Derek Ryan after his 2-goal performance.
I know he didn't win, but good to get something started for you. Is that fair?
Yeah, for sure. Would have been a lot better for a win. Yeah.
Your thoughts? You guys have been playing better defensively, but tonight's another night when you need 5 to win. Not probably the formula to win games.
Certainly not. Yeah. I don't think we gave up a ton, but the stuff that we did give up was quality, grade A. So, yeah, we can definitely clean that up. Definitely not a matter of scoring more goals. It's a matter of keeping it out of our net. It's a reoccurring theme.
It seemed like you had pretty good control of that game for quite some time. Does it seem sort of disappointing that that was one was there to be had? It looked like from upstairs anyway.
I mean, definitely one that we should have had. I would definitely agree with that going into the third period. Got to be able to lock that down and win that game. Whether or not we had control, I think they definitely had some control in different moments of the game. Their power play is lethal, and I think we probably put them on the power play too much. And, so they definitely got a lot of momentum off their power play, I would say.
Derek, the team's record falls to 0-5-1 when you guys put up 40-plus shots. What comes to mind when you hear that stat?
We're letting in too many goals. I think that's the missing part of that equation is that when we do have whatever plus shots, then we're giving up too many goals still.
There's Derek Ryan, a couple of goals for him, his first 2 of the season against the Tampa Bay Lightning. He said something, Belsey, that you highlighted right away. What was it that stuck out in your mind that he said?
No, he just basically pointed out the fact that they didn't give up many shots, but when they did, it was grade A scoring chances.
And Tampa converted.
They converted, and every team, once again, goes down this path, and every single team says, limit the grade A scoring chances, because usually those are the ones that end up in the back of your net.
They certainly did on this night. He talked about, too, giving too many opportunities on the power play to the Tampa Bay Lightning. Tampa's power play connects twice. The Oilers' PK, 50% in this game at 2 for 4. The power play, not good enough with an 0 for 5 night. All right. 780-218-9999. Vance Van Vandervan Texan says, if McLeod played like Yamamoto, he'd be a bear on account the upgrade on size and speed. But the way he's played this year, he seems like the softest guy to ever play while missing all of his front teeth. Vance Van Vandervan, good to hear from you. Tommy, this text says from Lance, I'm not having a good time this season. When are we going for a beer? Let me know. I'll buy the first round. Lance, you're buying the first 7 rounds. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. No, I don't think a lot of people are having a good time with this Oilers season. Lance, so you're not the only one. Fort Sask Mike texts in. Fort Sask Mike says, jumping into the show late, boys, but it's so frustrating to see the give a crap meter at such a low level late in the game. They get gifted a power play and have absolutely no juice at all, not moving their feet, sloppy passes, and a wasted opportunity. Tough to watch. Leon needs to grow up and start being a leader even when he's not scoring. The guy's feet seem like they're stuck in molasses for half the game. That's from Fort Sask Mike. That's the second molasses reference we've had on the text line alone. I'm sure there's been a few via the nasty chat, and that's coming from two different people. The feet not moving concept. Yeah. And, someone pointed, I can't remember who it was, pointed out Desharnais, and then Lance talks about, or Fort Sask Mike talks about Draisaitl's feet in molasses as well. So some themes popping up, common ones.
That was the last minute of play. I think we talked about that where, you're down a goal, and this is where the urgency should definitely increase. Mm-hmm. And the amount of guys that were standing straight up, both hands on their stick and watching things happen, like
parallel sticks.
There's got to be a level of urgency. And I just don't, I want this team to do so well. Now that I do more of this stuff.
Well, you played for this team.
I see how emotional our Oiler fans are. And I feel it. I understand it, everybody. I do. I really, really do. And I want this team to do well because I want to ease the burden from you guys. But man, oh man, is it tough. Yeah. Because I feel that Edmonton is a blue-collar town that appreciates a work ethic.
It does.
And right now, the team that we have in front of us has super skill.
It does.
But lacks an effort that I think truly would endear itself to the fan base.
I think that is a very valid assessment. Very valid assessment. Coming from a guy who played for the Oilers and grew up here in Edmonton.
Yeah.
There you go. All right, YouTube Trev, I see Kris Knoblauch, who looks like he's ready to speak following his first ever loss as an NHL head coach, where he is the actual head coach, not counting his brief tenure as bench boss with the New York Rangers during COVID. Here we go, Kris Knoblauch.
Maybe especially for an afternoon one. Did you feel like things were kind of in control there until the third got a little bit maybe too wide open?
Yeah, no, overall I thought the first two periods we played really well. In the third period, I didn't like how we handled having the lead. Their forwards getting behind our defensemen, their forwards getting behind our defensemen, and our forwards not protecting the middle of the ice as well as we should have. But overall, like I said, it could have been a different game in the first two periods where, especially after the first period, I thought it was the strongest that I've seen us play since I've been behind the bench. And, I thought the power play did everything but score those first two opportunities in the first. And, if we get one of those, then maybe it's a different game.
So there's two ways to win that game. Either you got to allow less and not have to get to 5 to win, or your power play gets going and you get to 7, because this team used to be able to get to 7 a little bit. As a coach, what would you rather see?
I'd like to see both those happen. I'd like to see our power play contribute and our defensive play shut things down a little bit tighter.
Mm-hmm. When you're up 3-2 after 2, are you a coach that wants your team to play a different style in the third and protect the lead, or play the same style that got you the 3-2 lead?
I want us to play the same style. Maybe be a little more conservative with the puck, especially in the offensive zone, throwing pucks out to the slots and stuff like that. But overall, I still want the same pressure, same systems. We're not changing anything other than maybe being a little more conservative with the puck.
There's Kris Knoblauch, head coach of the Edmonton Oilers, suffering his first official loss as an NHL bench boss. You're shaking your head, you're sighing. You did one of these when Knoblauch had his answers.
It's all the same stuff that we've been talking about. Can't give up great opportunities.
Protect the middle of the ice.
Don't let guys in behind you. Elementary stuff.
Do you like the strategy? I don't mind what he said there, where he's like, I don't want to see the team change the style of play in the third period.
I love it.
Keep going.
I love
Keep
it.
going.
Because once again, when we talked about this on the pregame show, is that championship teams do not change the way they play.
They dictate
course
of the game.
Pace of play.
Yeah.
They dictate everything. So I 100% agree with him. You can't let your foot off the gas because you got to lead. You got to play the right way the whole time. And that's just what we're not seeing right now. We're not playing the right way. There's moments in time where they do, and when they do, they look really good and or they win. But it's got to be that full 60. There's got to be a commitment to just consistently playing the right way. McDavid and Draisaitl play the right way. And if you do, you're going to get 110 points as opposed to 130. But you'll feel a lot better because you're going to be winning and you're going to be competing for a Stanley Cup, because when you have the two best players, it instantly elevates you to another level. It really does. But it's got to be top-down approach. Everybody's got to do the right things, and it starts with those two. And that may sound unfair because they do a lot of the heavy lifting for the Oilers, or at least they used to, right? McDavid might be hurt still.
Yeah.
But it's top-down. Because if McDavid doesn't cheat the game, then there's no chance that McLeod cheats the game. And if Draisaitl doesn't cheat the game, then there's no chance that Foegele does. It's a top-down approach. And so until that is rectified, we're probably going to be in the same loop.
Perpetual.
Yeah. Frustration.
Yeah, I think that's a fair way to put it. Daniel, via the Nasty Chat text in, says, pathetic. They lost this game. Very winnable game. Lightning weren't even good today. They were opportunistic, though, Daniel. Yep. I would say, for sure. Kieran says, crazy. They're only 5 points out of a wild card. Penner's Pancake says, we need Morrow, Greer, and Smith to show these guys what work ethic is. Yeah, those teams of the late 90s, early 2000s, low on high-end skill, but high on hard work, determination, and sandpaper.
Oh, yeah, they were. Those guys didn't give up anything for free.
Yeah.
Like, you knew when you came into that game, you're like, oh, man, this is going to be an absolute war.
Not so with this team. Not so. Norman a Combine says, YouTube Trev might have competition with Rant of the Night. Shawn is bringing it. Good job, Shawn.
Thanks.
Yeah. 780-218-9999. We've got a few minutes left in the show. We also have some housekeeping to get to. That, of course, being the Damon Bunting Remax Elite Player of the Game. YouTube Trev is scouring the stats page, getting ready to make his call. Damon Bunting, consistent top-producing realtor in Greater Edmonton and among Remax Realtors. He and his team would love to help you find that right home or move from your current home. Community-driven, he understands what it takes to make a difference in our city. Check Damon out on DamonBunting.com or visit his Instagram at Damon Bunting Real Estate. YouTube Trev is ready to go with the player of the game. Lay it on me, brother.
I'm ready. So first off, guys, let's see if we can get this video to 100 likes by the end of, we probably got like 10 minutes left here. So drop a like, show your support. It's the best way to show your support is dropping a like. So with the Damon Bunting player of the game, obviously Derek Ryan gets off the schneid, 2 goals, honorable mention for him, but it was just a great story. James Hamlin with his first of the season. I mean, this is just, this is what hockey is all about. It was touching. Belsley already, commented on it. It was just very touching. So 1 goal, first goal in the NHL. It was a big one, absolutely. +2 tonight. 1 shot on goal. He's got 4 shots of the season. So maybe James just needs to shoot the puck a little bit more. And he's shooting he's clicking at a 25% shooting rate. So not bad at all. In just 7 minutes tonight, aside from the goal, he definitely was more involved tonight than any night I've seen him recently. He's a 4-year pro as well and undrafted. So James Hamlin, you are the Damon Bunting player of the game.
All right, well done.
Yeah,
well deserved. Nicely done, YouTube Trev. Check out DamonBunting.com or Damon Bunting Real Estate on Instagram. all right, one thing, one guy who gets knocked a lot and has a target on his back usually all the time is Darnell Nurse. Some out there may be suggesting that we need to be focused on his poor performance tonight. How do you see it?
Did you notice him in the game today?
No.
Okay. So Coach once said to me, as a defenseman, sometimes it's good to not be noticed.
Mm-hmm.
So that means you don't do anything good and you don't do anything bad. That's how I felt about Darnell Nurse today.
Just some criticism out there, I think on Twitter, X, whatever.
On Twitter, yep.
If you're wondering what kind of night Nurse had, just because he's always a focal point for a lot of people, he was +1, 2 penalty minutes, 2 hits.
Certainly sounds like he needs to be
2 shots,
criticized.
24-21. He was, him, Cody Ceci were the only 2 defensemen that were plus.
I get it. The guy makes 9.25. Don't be mad at Darnell because Darnell got 9.25. Be mad at the GM who signed him to that.
Right. They are.
It's absolutely crazy to me that you're like, oh, Darnell Nurse is awful. Why is he awful? He makes 9.25. Well, is he bad or you don't like the contract? I don't like
they
the
don't
contract.
Like the contract.
Okay, then let's say that. But let's stop this game of Darnell's the worst person on earth. Hey, the guy makes mistakes. We get it. Bouchard makes mistakes. We get it.
Mm-hmm.
They have their strengths. They have their weaknesses. But don't just clump him into it just for the sake of the fact that he's got a $9.25 million contract. It's the same thing as Horkoff back in the day.
Yep. Yeah.
Hork had an unbelievable playoff. He earned his contract, and now you're mad at Horkoff for getting money that he deserved?
Or was awarded or offered? Yeah.
Don't be mad at him.
So the Oilers, lots of opportunities, lots of shots. They get a few goals. They had multiple leads, and they blew it all away with poor defensive efforts, poorly timed pinches, lackluster back checks, and maybe could have used an extra save or two. The power play goes 0 for 5. So as much good that they did in the first 2 periods, a lot of it was undone with a pretty bad third period where they allowed 4 goals. One of those into the empty net from Mikhail Sergachev from about 197 feet from the Oilers' net, but it still went in, and it does result in the 6-4 Oilers defeat at the hands of the Tampa Bay Lightning. Jason and Leduc, we went over this one already. Can Bouchard play wing? I'm so out of options and ideas and everything. We did the hypothetical game, and we're like, sure, he could.
As a rover.
But as a rover. And Belzy wanted to create a new position called rover. And that's every time Bouchard would be on the ice because his board play, battle level, and net front presence play, probably not great. Yes, if he gets into the slot and can release that shot, deadly. And his neutral zone, you said, would probably be half decent as well, right?
Yeah.
But the other stuff, not so good.
Yeah, pretty much.
Jason and Leduc, we did go over it a little bit. We had some fun with it, but I don't think rover is what we came up with.
It was just a hypothetical game. For those of you that are coming in late, it was a hypothetical game. We don't actually think you need to create a new position.
Say it tongue-in-cheek, for sure. This text says, Oilers need Georges Laraque to teach this team the meaning of hard work and how to be tougher. Yeah, Georges, friend of yours, obviously. There's not a lot of Georges Laraques around. He's a great guy. I love dealing with him. He's always been so gracious with his time on Hello Hockey.
That is true.
Charity events. But, you've gotten to know him over the years quite well.
Yeah.
Yeah, he worked hard for what he got. Different era, though. Different era.
Very hard era.
Yeah, exactly. So...
But Norm in a combine. I like this one.
What?
Hey, someone wants to give me 9.2. I'm taking it. No kidding. Norm, I appreciate that.
Yep.
Because we all would take 9.2.
I would take it and get booed by Oilers fans for the next 7 years or whatever. Absolutely.
Do you think, and this is an honest question, and right now I'm actually not chirping.
Okay.
If he was making 5 and had the exact same game, what would the rhetoric be?
He's pretty good.
He's pretty good?
That's what they would say.
Yeah. Fair. Well, then what does that say?
Well, like you said earlier, it goes back to the contract, and it offends some people.
Yeah, well, don't be offended. He didn't go out and be like, well, he did actually
market,
say, I want 9.25, and they said, sure.
Well, the market
here you go, have it.
I know. We're gonna talk about this until either Darnell Nurse is no longer an Oiler. It'll be a topic. It will be, or the cap gets so big and that contract kind of falls by the wayside and other egregious.
Yeah, when that happens, his contract will be done. So we'll be in a different talking point at that point. But it just. I don't know. It's frustrating. I get it, Oiler fans. We want to see so much more from the team. And so I get it. But there's got to be a little bit of rationale here. A little bit of common sense.
Yes. Another loss for the Oilers, 10th of the year, 5-10-1 on the season. They will look to regroup on Monday night against the Florida Panthers. And that game is a 5 o'clock start our time. We will be on the air 3:30 p.m. for the Oil Stream pregame show. Shawn Belle, between now and game time for the Edmonton Oilers, what do you think Kris Knoblauch is telling his group? How is he preparing the team for that game against a Panthers team that went to the Stanley Cup final last year?
I think they're going to watch a little video. They're going to see the things that they did well. Which there is the first 2 periods. There were some really good moments in that game.
Yep.
But then they're also going to show the goals. And they're going to say, okay, well, we need to clean this up. This has been a common theme over the course of the year. We need to correct this. And if they can clean that up, once again, they'll be in a good spot. And they probably beat the Florida Panthers.
Florida 11-5-1 this season through 17 games, 7-2-1 in its last 10. Not going to be easy. Blown opportunity tonight for the Edmonton Oilers against the Tampa Bay Lightning. It is a 6-4 defeat, and the road trip starts off with a bit of a thud for sure. Power play 0 for 5, PK 2 for 4. Could have used the save on that Goaltending goal for sure, and some ill-timed pinches, poor back checks, and soft general play in their own zone, especially in that third period. Any final thoughts?
Will it be Matthew Tkachuk that brings the Oilers out of the slump?
Like he does something that pisses them all off? Maybe.
They hate him so much that they want to beat him so bad that just pulls the whole team right out of it.
What if?
What if?
What if he
I still think
spark?
they just should go have a fight-filled night.
That would be fun to watch.
It'd be great to watch.
I don't see it happening, but it would
Either
be fun to watch.
But man, it would be awesome to watch. A little old school for one night.
A little brouhaha.
Yep.
Donnybrook. Slobber knocker.
Let's call up some of the meatballs in the AHL. Let them do their thing.
Get
Take
Brad
a couple
Malone up
suspies
here.
and put your boys back in, and we're all good.
What a novel concept. Beware of the cap, though. Beware of the cap.
Can't do anything with the cap.
Oh, boy. All right, that'll do it for the Oil Stream postgame show. The Oilers fall 6-4 to the Tampa Bay Lightning. Back in action Monday night, 5 p.m. against the Florida Panthers. Pre-game show starts right here on EST at 3:30 p.m. Shawn Belle, fantastic day of work.
Thank you so
today
much.
On EST. Hello Hockey was great. Pre-game was great. We got a cameo from Joaquin Gage. Post-game, you summed it up nicely, and I would say that was all in a good day's work. YouTube, Trev, nicely done today, pal. Any final thoughts from you?
No final thoughts. I'm going to go home tonight, as we all will, and we're just going to... It's in the past. We can't dwell on it. So that's all I got for tonight. I'm going to go crush a few beers back, and I'm going to forget about it and have a wonderful night, and I cannot wait.
Saturday, too.
Yeah. This is my advice.
Yes.
Oiler fans, I love you.
Oh, that's nice.
I love you guys. Go home.
He loves
or
me.
go to a bar. Hug your significant other.
Yes.
Or your best buddy.
Yes.
Grab a drink.
Or 2.
Or 10.
Mix in a water.
Make sure you mix in a water before you leave. Or you go to bed.
Yeah.
And live to fight another day.
There you go.
Much love.
Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Bellsy. You know what? Cass never ends the show like that. So that was fantastic. Chef's kiss to you. Jenna says the show's not over till Tom blows a kiss. Blowing kisses. Let's enjoy the rest of our weekend, despite what we saw on the ice from the home team, the Edmonton Oilers on the road today. 6-4 they lose. That'll do it for the Oil Stream post-game show for Bellsy and YouTube Trev. And I guess Joaquin Gage, who was here earlier.
Yep.
I'm Tom Gazzola saying, please enjoy the rest of your weekend. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. If you are on our YouTube channel, subscribe. If you haven't already, smash that thumbs up button. And please have yourself a lovely rest of your weekend. Ciao for now.